Great shot to end. Now, a former River Tyne ferry that often broke down, leaving passengers adrift, has been given a new lease of life, far away from her northeast roots. The Frida Cunningham carried people between North and South Shields for over 20 years until the ferry operator, Nexus, sold her in the early 90s. Nothing was heard about her again. But now, after a lot of hard work and a new lick of paint, she's turned up hundreds of miles away at a former fishing port called Baltimore on the south coast of Ireland. Mystic Waters, as she's now called, carries tourists and locals between Baltimore and Sherkin Island. And she hasn't broken down yet. Damien O'Neill reports.
The Frida Cunningham was built in Wallsend in the early 70s, and for 2 decades she connected the north and south banks of the Tyne, at least most of the time. She had a reputation for being a bit rubbish and often broke down halfway across.
Often when you come into the quay to slow the boat down, you hadn't put the engine fully round, so the boat went faster when you were coming into the quay. Everybody would run.
But she struggled on until 1993 when she was sold to make way for a more modern vessel like that one there. And now, almost a quarter of a century later, she's found her way from here all the way to here, Baltimore in the far south of Ireland. You see what I did there? Today, Baltimore is a magnet to posh English sailing types, but the town has a dark history involving another type of sailor altogether.
In 1631, a group of North African pirates came one night and raided the port. They took over 100 of the inhabitants and took them off to the big ships outside the harbour and back to North Africa, where they sold them as slaves on the Algerian market. It devastated the town and really was the end of it for a couple of 100 years.
But you wouldn't think it looking at the place today. Tourists visit Baltimore in vast numbers for most of the year, but especially in the summer months when Mystic Waters, as she's now known, is brought in to ferry passengers to Sherkin Island. New owner Vincent O'Driscoll faced great resistance from the Irish government when he tried to get her back into the water, but after a lot of work she was finally given a certificate of seaworthiness. Vincent, who sailed a ship or two over the years, says she's far better than her reputation would suggest.
We have had no major problems with her. When I got her, I took the engines out of her, got them fully reconditioned, actually got the power operated on them, and I had very little trouble with her since.
Is that the look of the Irish?
I don't know, but maybe they weren't looking after her very well over there. We'll do a bit more work to her next year. I think we're talking about putting a new wheelhouse and upgrading that side of her now.
So if she could choose, where would she be, do you think, here or back on the Tyne?
Well, from what I hear, if she wasn't that popular on the Tyne, I'm sure she'd choose here, because she's definitely popular here in the summertime.
Everybody knew that they gonna shine.
Baltimore is a hugely prosperous town. You can see it in the faces of the visitors and feel it in the air. Mystic Waters is now a big part in the success of this picturesque corner of Ireland, but even now she's still giving up little clues about her past.
We have a ticket that was found when we were restoring the boat, and it's obviously a passenger ticket for 15p. Tyne and where, PTE.
If the boat could talk, where do you think she'd prefer to be, on the Tyne or here?
Definitely here. Just look out there.
45 years on, the Frida Cunningham has a new name, a new identity and a new lease of life. She's going stronger than ever. There's something reassuring about that. Damien O'Neill, BBC Look North in Baltimore, in Ireland.
Is it possible to be jealous of a boat?
Fabulous, that, wasn't it?
Stunning there, yeah. Right, sport, Chef.
Yes, transfer news to start off with. Carol. Sunderland have agreed to sell England under-21 goalkeeper Jordan Pickford to Everton for up to £30 million, which would make him the third most expensive keeper in the history of the game. Well, it's understood Pickford will have a medical and complete his move to Goodison Park after returning from the European Championships. Meanwhile, the Black Cats are reported to be in talks about their managerial